Hey guys, what's going on? Sherman here. Today I'm going to be reviewing one of my new favorite knives. This is the CRKT Jettison. Never been a huge fan of CRKT knives, to be honest. They were kind of one of my least favorite knife companies, but as of recently, they've come out with a ton of designs that I absolutely love. They have really stepped up their game. And this is a really sweet design designed by Robert Carter. He's a kind of a new up-and-coming knife maker, or fairly new anyway. And this thing is, to me anyway, pretty awesome. It is a super small. It's kind of hard to tell. Kind of zoomed in just so you can see it. Minimalistic knife. It has no fancy bells and whistles. It's pretty simple. It has a lot of room for pimping. Modding. Any of you guys into doing that kind of stuff? It's a blank canvas for that, kind of like with the Boker Quaken with the titanium handles. But it's just really sweet. So I'm going to zoom out just to kind of give you guys a size comparison. So here's the knife in my hand. Yeah, this thing is tiny. I didn't bring out any knives but it's just really sweet. So I'm going to zoom out just to kind of give you guys a size comparison. So here's the knife in my hand. Yeah, this thing is tiny. I didn't bring out any knives to compare it to because really the only knives I have left in my collection aren't knives that necessarily everyone would have. But super small. The overall length is a little over 5 inches long. The overall length. Blade length, a little over 2 inches long. The entire knife weighs only 1.3 ounces. It's just insane how small this thing is. But I mean, it's not like the Spyderco, what was it, the Bug, the little keychain knife. This definitely isn't a keychain knife, but it's if you're into secondary carry knives, this would be a really good secondary carry. Or if you're just into small primary carry knives, a gym knife. This will slip down right in the front pocket of my gym shorts. So, perfect. Just real quick, this little lanyard I made, this does not come with the knife. I made this myself with a Spectrum Energetics titanium clip-it bead. And I just attached it to the lanyard loop that comes on the knife. But that made it so, because this knife, in case you guys didn't notice, does not have a pocket clip. It doesn't have a place to put a pocket clip. Because it's so small, they just figured you just drop it down in the change pocket of your jeans or just throw it in your pocket. But I wanted this so that I could actually, carry it. But anyway, the technical specs out of the way. The handle, the frame of this knife is stonewashed titanium. So you get genuine titanium. It is a frame locking knife. Just let me give you guys a good look. Really nicely finished, I thought. The edges are nicely beveled. Not even really chamfered, they're just kind of rounded, which looks really good and makes it really comfortable. Or at least, as comfortable as it can be for the size. It's really good looking. It does have a lock bar stabilizer in the form of just a regular torque screw. Super simple design. You really just have 3 screws holding the entire knife together. You get the 1 pivot screw, that one doesn't count because it's just a stabilizer, and then the 2 frame screws, which also hold this, I believe it's titanium and maybe aluminum. I think it might be aluminum, but maybe titanium. I'm not 100% positive on that one, but this backspacer / lanyard loop. So I guess you could throw that on your keys if you really wanted, but I just wanted to put this lanyard on there so I could carry it. It's super slim, small form factor. Like I said, this knife is tiny. They do have a bigger version of this knife out now, but it's not called like the Jettison 2 or anything like that. It's just called the Jettison, just like this one. So it's kind of confusing, but you just have to really look at it because the bigger one says like Jettison, and then if you read on with the description, it'll say like 3.5 inches. And that's the blade. So it is bigger, and it does have a pocket clip. That's the only difference. Flipper just has Teflon washers But if you guys have been into knives for a while, you know that Teflon washers, once they break in, are insanely smooth. But just really, really nice. And as you guys can see, there's a ton of room for pimping this knife. You could heat anodize the hardware, you could heat anodize the entire frame, just whatever. But I'm going to flip it out, and this is kind of where I think a lot of people might be not disappointed, but kind of turned off by this knife. And if you have really big hands, this could be kind of hard to flip. But this knife, you can't really push button. It's more of a light switch flick. So pop that blade out. Mine has a super hard detent. There's the lockup. And it does have two little cutouts right there, so you can kind of get your finger in there. It's hard to disengage the lock because it is so small. You know, I don't have big hands, or big fingers anyway. So I got to get my fingernail down in there to disengage the lock. But super smooth. Check out that detent. Super hard detent. So it's kind of hard to do. You got to kind of get used to it if you want to get used to it. Yeah, I wanted to get used to it because I love this knife. You just got to kind of keep your fingers out of the way, and it really helps to have a lanyard because I can back down and hold onto the lanyard, because if you're pinching the knife like this, you'll never get it open because you're pushing that lock bar into the blade, which the detent ball is in the lock bar, so when you're pressing against that, you're just holding the detent ball into the blade, almost making it impossible to flip. So you got to kind of back down on the knife. Like I said, it's much easier with a lanyard, and it gives you something to hold on to while you flip the knife out. And once you do that, when you're not putting any pressure on the frame, it shoots out like nothing. It's like an automatic. This thing it's not assisted by any means. It's not IKBS. It's just a manual knife with Teflon washers. But super smooth. Like I said, you just got to get used to it, get the hang of it. Flips just beautifully. So it's really good to have a finger guard on a knife this small. Love that Wharncliffe blade design. That's not the factory edge. I put a new edge on this, but the edge from the factory was very sharp. It was just a little bit more uneven than I like, so I just made it even all the way across. But the factory edge I was actually pretty pleased with. But I just prefer to put my own edge on my knives. But just wanted you guys to know, if you're not into sharpening or reprofiling your knives, out of the box mine was fine. So I just love the gorgeous finish on that blade. Just a nice finish on that. Just nice satin finish. Hollow ground. Very lightly. But it is slightly hollow ground. See it there, Jettison Carter design. The blade steel on this is 8 CR13 MOV. That's how they got the price point down, with having titanium. They claim the Rockwell hardness of this steel is 58 to 60. Now, that is a lot harder than a lot of other ACR13's MOVs that I've seen. Mostly ACR13 MOV that I've seen runs around 57, which is hard. And, you know, if you guys aren't into the Rockwell thing, you wouldn't think that 58 would be that much different than 57, but it's actually a pretty huge difference. Especially 60. If it's on the 60 range, you're almost in the realm of D2. So, very hard, but it has held an edge very well. So, they may heat treat theirs a little differently than most people. But I think it's a good steel choice. I like ACR13 MOV. I really love that blade design. It's got that nice swedge up top. Just super, super good looking. Needle-like tip. And the way it kind of has just from the design, it has almost like a little thumb rest in the spine of the blade. So Robert Carter really got some good ergonomics out of this small design. There's no part of gripping this knife that's uncomfortable, mainly because of this really thin handle design, but because all the edges are nicely rounded. So it's just really comfortable to hold for such a small knife. It's got the finger guard so your hand doesn't slide forward. Nice little ramp. No jimping, but it's not really needed. Just very comfortable. Very surprising. And I imagine, well, actually it is, because I know for a fact, because I handled the larger version of this at Blade Show this year, and it is very comfortable. I didn't get a lot of handling time with it, but it is comfortable, and I definitely want to get it. It's only a few dollars more. So, and this one is super cheap. This knife goes for anywhere between $30 to $34. So $30 to $40. I think I got it for $30. So just shop around. But that's super cheap for a knife of this quality, you know, with this good fit and finish and the materials that it's made out of. You know, pretty good steel, I think, with the 8CR13 MOV. A lot better than, you know, 440 or 7CR14, which CRKT has used in the past. So a bit of an upgrade from that. And like I said, the titanium and just the overall fit and finish makes this knife a winner to me. Lockup, by the way, just real quick, super tight. No wiggle. There's a couple of people I've heard complain about, you know, stickiness, lock stickiness. Mine's a little stiff, a little sticky, but a little sticky's okay. You know, a knife of this size where it's already kind of complicated to close anyway, you don't really notice it. But it's just a really fun knife. It's a really fun knife to carry, to play with, and really, just in the grand scheme of things, this is all the knife you're going to really need for I'd say 90% of everybody watching this who's also a knife guy. This will handle about 90% of all of your cutting tasks. Unless you're on the farm or work construction or work a job where you really need to cut a lot of things, or the chance might come up where you might have to cut something fairly large, whatever. You might want to look into a bigger pocket knife or possibly a fixed blade. But for 90% of us, I say, with 90% of our cutting tasks, just for everyday carry, this will be just fine. You know, I'm not cutting food, but even if I was, you know, this will still cut most things. For cutting open mail, packages, threads off of my shirt, cutting open just really anything, this will do perfectly. Unless you're also carrying your knife for self-defense. Which, you know, you could use this for self-defense. Especially if you have a lanyard on there, hold it like that. You can use that for self-defense a little bit, but I carry a firearm for self-defense. So I no longer think of my primary carry blade as this is my self-defense option for the day. You know, it is primarily a tool for me. So this is an amazing knife. I love the design. Beautiful design. It's just simple, no frills. It's just fun. Really cool knife. I highly recommend it. And for around, you know, 30 bucks, definitely check it out. You know, if you're into smaller knives or maybe want to try to get into carrying something a little bit smaller, possibly like a secondary or for maybe a, you know, minimalist kit, definitely check it out. You know, especially with the, I'm kind of plugging Spectrum Energetics a little bit, but especially with the Spectrum Energetics clip bead, it makes this knife so much better because it allows you to be able to carry it on your pocket. So just something to think about. But super cool. I highly recommend this knife, guys. Like I said, at the price, why not? Just try it out. See if you like it. If not, there's a lot of people wanting one right now, and I'm sure, you know, somebody will buy it from you. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Highly recommend this little blade. And its bigger brother now that's out now, the Jettison 3.5 or whatever it's called. Both of them are great. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay sharp, and God bless. Sherman 614. Peace. Fail. There you go.